So everyone is talking how Elune was finally revealed, and let me just tell you right off the bat, no she wasn't, but we're pretty close to figuring out who she is, and now we know more than we ever really did in the past. So there's some insane new information that was recently leaked. Elune is the sister of the Winter Queen, is of the Pantheon of Life, and is more than likely connected to Azeroth, the Earthmother, and the Light itself. So to not bore you with an hour of speculations, let's try to make this as concise as possible, talking about what is confirmed, what we know, and what is currently the most up-to-date version of her lore. Brought to you by Gamivo. Use my link to get Shadowlands and game time cheaper as well as any other game. Use code Doron for an additional discount. So, Elune, the eternal mystery of Warcraft, is finally getting demystified. This began pretty much with the start of the Shadowlands and the resurrection of Ysera, and how we figured out that the Winter Queen has a sister. I gotta say, it obviously made the most amount of sense to me that her sister was Eonar the Titan, but obviously I was wrong, as it is now 100% confirmed that it is Elune that is the sister of the Winter Queen, so this is no longer really a speculation. Currently, we have three sources from where we're drawing information: the folks and the fairy tales, the very loosely canon book that just got released, which is mainly from the perspective, as you might tell from the title, of folk fairy tales, so obviously myths of the various races of Azeroth. Then we have the Grimoire of the Shadowlands that uncovers the mystery of the afterlife, mainly from the perspective of the brokers, and obviously we have the 9.1 PTR. Now, let's just be clear here, Blizzard obviously made these two books, not an encyclopedia, in order to be able to just retcon this stuff later on if necessary. First one is from a common people perspective, which obviously can be dismissed just as myths, and the second one we have the accounts from the brokers and their observations, but obviously they can just say the brokers got it wrong, it actually happened this way. But despite these escape mechanisms Blizzard purposely wrote in, we have some quality information, as they wouldn't really give us all these stories for no reason. It is likely that Blizzard is just steering us in a certain direction, while at the same time giving them the opportunity to just retcon this if it doesn't make sense in the future. So let's get into the meat of this matter. The still mysterious first ones have been confirmed to have created the endless cycle of life and death. Why? I can't really say, but it follows the general logic of opposites such as the void and the light, the order and disorder, so obviously life and death. Now, it is said that the first ones designed the role for the Winter Queen. This bit here is crucial, this word designed, because it isn't said that they created the Winter Queen, just that they were the ones that gave her the role. The role was the most vital one in this process, pretty much at the bond between life and death, which makes sense as Ardenweald is connected to the Emerald Dream on Azeroth. It is best described as Ardenweald is the winter and the Emerald Dream the summer, but it is still a part of one gigantic cycle. Now, it is then confirmed that the Winter Queen has a sister that is on the other side of this process, the life, and then the brokers hypothesize that while the Winter Queen is of the Pantheon of Death, her sister is of the Pantheon of Life. This is huge information, as it actually kinda confirms who Elune really is. Mainly, she isn't an Eternal One or a Naru or a Titan, but a member of the Pantheon of Life. So just how the Titans are the leaders of order, the Naru of Light, Elune is one of the leaders of the Life Force. However, something happened here as the two sisters' bond was split eons ago, and apparently the Winter Queen holds a lot of resentment for her sister, which we could also tell from the very first dialogue when she mentions her. To get into this, it would be very lackluster speculation territory, but the key take is that it is confirmed that Elune is a life-bound entity connected to the Pantheon of Death. Now, in order to further nail down her identity, we have a few storylines from the folks and the fairy tales that makes this entire matter, I'd say, even more confusing, but let's just get into it. Generally, the book is written from the perspective of the Tauren and the Night Elves, and these are more than obviously like myths of their race, very loosely based in reality as well. I'm not going to get into the individual ones, but we have some interesting implications. From these stories, it seems like the Earthmother is the main person, the center of this entire storyline. It is more than likely Azeroth itself, or just a world soul that may have arrived on our planet and then just slept within. Then, as you know, we have the sun and the two moons of Azeroth. One of these moons is obviously Elune, and the baby sister is more than likely the Winter Queen, while the brother is the sun. I know, confusing as hell, and this doesn't really confirm much, but as I mentioned, it does have some big implications. Apparently, Azeroth can't really do anything until the old gods are completely gone, like completely removed, and Elune was supposed to care for the little sister and the brother, which might explain all the resentment, as she may have actually abandoned them. To connect this further, we have the old lore where Elune was called an upstart goddess, meaning that she may have abandoned her initial lot in life and decided to do something else to become a deity, as she did, abandoning her family in the process. We still can't really tell where Blizzard is going exactly with this, but my speculation that it is possible that Azeroth could in fact be a first one, and obviously the Winter Queen and Elune are related. Additionally, this could have a huge potential with the sun being related to these two, because this might as well be the light itself. This could totally be the connection between the three good forces of the cosmology chart: order, life, and light. Lastly, we have some spoilers from the 9.1 PTR. As you might already know at this point, Sylvanas faces off against Tyrande in some grand cinematic that we'll get to see, and then something happens within. It does seem like Elune for the first time makes an appearance to Tyrande, and ultimately, Tyrande seems to be stripped of the Night Warrior powers. Now, despite all this new information, we still don't have concrete evidence on who exactly Elune is, but some things seem to be certain. She is obviously connected to the Winter Queen. She is related to this new feature called the Pantheon of Life. New because we just learned of it, but obviously it existed for ages. And there really seems to be a connection between a few of the forces on the cosmology chart and Azeroth. It really does seem like Azeroth is not just some random Titan world soul, but something much larger, possibly the mother of Elune and the Winter Queen, which makes sense why the Jailer is also interested in our world soul. Additionally, as you already know, there are Night Warriors across other planets, and they all worshipped Elune, so obviously Elune is a deity for all the living folk. However, what we thought previously that she was the first one might not be the case. It is more than likely that she's just a life titan and an important figure, but more than likely not a creator of the universe or anything of the sort. Thank you for watching. Check out the new information on how Sylvanas' soul was split by clicking on the screen, and also check out Donald's Academy for videos on real world history and science. See you next time.